After studying this module, you shall be able to know about documents that are attacked on various grounds, types of tools and appliances that are used for document analysis. Document is a piece of written, printed or electronic matter which provides some information or evidence or that serves as an official record. It can also be defined as a record in written, photographic or other form. Examples of document are legal paper, official paper, certificate, deed, form, report, chronicle, register, log, catalogue, archive, etc. Question document is a document whose authenticity or genuineness is in question. Documents are attacked on many grounds and for a range of reasons, but greater the part of questioned papers or documents are incorporated in the subsequent classes. First, documents with questioned signatures, documents containing suspected fraudulent alterations, holograph documents questioned or doubtful, documents suspected on the issue of their age or date, documents suspected on the issue of material used in their production, documents investigated on the question of typewriting. It can be of further two types: ascertaining the source of document or determining the date of document. Seventh is documents or writings investigated because they identify some person through handwriting. It is further of two types: anonymous and disputed letters, or superscriptions, registrations and miscellaneous writings. The most important purpose of question document examination is to make available evidence about a suspicious or questionable document by means of a variety of scientific processes and methods. Different types of tools and appliances are used for the purpose of question document examination, such as magnifiers or microscopes, electrostatic detection apparatus, video spectral comparator, etc. The preliminary examination of documents. The most significant tool of a document examiner is his or her own vision. In addition to this tool, the outer tools which facilitate the examiner to see, evaluate and record more than is evident to the unaided eye. The microscope is the instrument that makes it possible to see physical evidence on documents which would otherwise remain invisible and useless. The normal unaided human eye can differentiate only 250 separate lines to the inch. This means that the small details which involve proportions or separations of less than 1/250th of an inch are not seen by the eye and sees them as a connected solid mass. These tools can be grouped into 6 categories. First are basic measuring tools. Second are magnification tools such as magnifiers and microscopes. Third are light sources. Fourth are special instruments. Fifth is photography, and sixth is computer. Basic measuring tools. Basic measuring tools comprises metric rulers, calipers for fine measurements, and an assortment of glass alignment plates which allow comparison and measurement of angles, height, width and spacing of handwriting and typewriting. A tool for both measurement and magnification is a graticule, also known as a reticle, which is a magnifier eyepiece containing an imprinted measurement scale which allows the examiner to precisely measure what is viewed under the microscope. In alleged traced forgeries, it becomes necessary to investigate the question of identity in size, proportions and position of the various parts of an alleged model signature and of one or more traced imitations, particularly as component of the initial investigation in such a case or for final use for illustrating testimony, it is very important to make definite measurements of the various parts to be compared in order to show certain exact identities which may be in combination be very strong evidence of forgery. For all such surface measurements, finely graduated glass rules are best. With them, more accurate measurements are made because the graduations are brought into real contact with the parts to be measured, as cannot be done with the ordinary opaque rule. A convenient and accurate form of this kind of measure is a 4-inch rule graduated in 8ths, 16ths, 32ths and 64ths of an inch. This arrangement permits measurement from any point up to 4 inches into the finely graduated field, and for numerous purposes is more convenient than a scale marked throughout with the finest graduations. With such a scale, it is possible for any on glass graduated in 2/56 of inch, one with average eyesight, to measure accurately up to its finest graduations, and the great advantage of a glass rule over an ordinary measure can only be appreciated by actual evaluation of the two. This measure is very useful in typewriting inquiries or any investigation in which it becomes essential to show actual but minute differences or similarities. The scale can be placed over the letter or part under investigation and photographed in enlarged form. For somewhat longer measurements which are occasionally necessary, there is a steel ruler which is graduated in 4ths of an inch, except that at one end a 1/4 inch space is graduated in 100ths of an inch. This design makes it possible to measure from any graduation up to 6 inches into the finely graduated space. As with the glass rule, by the use of needle pointed parallel dividers, very precise measurements are made with this scale, and for some purposes it is very helpful. Magnification, magnifiers or the microscopes. Document examiners use an extensive variety of magnification equipment. First, handheld magnifiers enlarge the object from 2 to 10 times, magnification powers of 2x to 10x, and also have lighting abilities as well as to make brighter the field of view. To see facts more closely, there are several types of microscopes. A binocular or stereo microscope is easy to use because, like the name implies, there are 2 eyepieces and the viewer focuses with both eyes. In addition, a microscope has a third viewing tube that allows a still or video camera to be attached for through the microscope photography or videography. Digital microscopes combine optics for enlargement with digital capture technology to permit the user to view the magnified image on the monitor in its place or in addition to viewing it through the microscope eyepieces. It might look as if that the more powerful the microscope in terms of magnification, the better. But for the job of handwriting examination, this is not the case. Most handwriting examination is done at powers of 10x to 50x. The subject is enlarged 10 to 50 times. When enlargement is higher, the field of vision is so narrow that the object viewed loses relevance. It is an excellent idea to start with a low power first for examining a segment of a document and then to zoom in closer to the area we want to examine. Ordinary hand magnifiers or simple microscopes are adjuncts of the compound microscope, are often of great assistance and should always be at hand in a court inquiry. By their use, the compound microscope can be dispensed within any investigations. A series of glasses varying in power from 2 to 20 diameters will give valuable assistance in nearly every inquiry. Glasses mounted on a fixed stand, by which means the focal distance is mechanically provided for light on the object examined. When delicate color values are under examination, it is advantageous to use glasses in which the chromatic aberration has been corrected. Magnifiers of this class usually consist of 2 or more lenses mounted together and show no prismatic or incorrect color effects even at the margins of the field. The more powerful ones are made as small as of a 1/4 inch focus with a magnifying power of about 40 diameters, but it is very difficult for one without experience to use such a glass. The ordinary tripod stand glasses, or the so-called linen testers of good quality, often are very useful when both hands are to be employed, or it is enviable to shut out side light as in transmitted light examination. A watchmaker's eyeglass or a photographer's focusing glass can be used to advantage, but for general purposes, the average observer can use to best advantage a hand magnifier with a focus of about 1 inch. Accurate measurements that can be proved to be precise are of vital importance in connection with the investigation of certain phases of the subject of questioned documents. A great variety of questions in some cases require that numerous kinds of measurements should be made as a definite basis for certain conclusions, and to avoid possible error and to reinforce testimony, it is sought after in all instances that measurements be completed so that they can be reviewed and verified by the judge, referee or jury. In order that this may be possible, the most suitable instruments must be provided. The primary purpose of any microscope is to form a magnified image of a small entity. As the image is more greatly enlarged, the concern then becomes resolution, the capability to see increasingly fine details as the magnification is increased. For most observers, the ability to see fine details of an article of evidence at a suitable magnification is sufficient. Stereo microscope is the simplest kind of microscope in terms of both assembly and utilization. The stereo microscope comprises of 2 compound microscopes that are allied side by side at the accurate visual angle to provide a correct stereoscopic image. The extended working distance, that is the space between the specimen and the objective lens, upright, non-reserved image along with the large field of view makes these instruments of choice for performing preliminary examination of the evidence. An added benefit which results from the extended working distance and illumination by reflected light is that specimens seldom require any sample preparation. The specimen is simply positioned under the microscope and observed. The useful magnification range of stereo microscopes is typically between 2.5x and about 100x. Modern stereo microscopes include a number of features which increase their efficacy and simplicity of use. A preference of illuminators which provide bright field and dark field, reflected fluorescence and transmitted light allows the microscopist to visualize microscopic things and features that might or else appear invisible and thus escape detection. Both photographic and video cameras are attached to record images for enclosure in a report as a courtroom exhibit. Its advantages are many, like: first, stereoscopic vision is preferable in various problems concerning depth, such as where an ink line crosses a fold in the paper. This instrument shows ridges and furrows, also minute indentations which cannot be seen with the ordinary microscope. Second, it is simpler to use, having a tube to occupy each eye. This is mainly significant in representing evidence to others not skilled in the use of microscope. Third, the broad area of vision is often a discrete benefit in which a comparatively substantial section of a document can be shown. A high degree of enlargement is generally not required and is often undesirable. Fourth, this instrument shows the image erect or upright in its true position with respect to the viewer and not reversed or inverted as in the everyday microscope. Fifth, its construction provides an extended working distance between the objectives and the object under observation, which is a distinct benefit in document examination. This lens to object distance also permits wide latitude in the choice of an illuminator and in the angle of incidence of the light thrown on the object. Sixth, its optical assembly permits a high eye point over the eyepieces and eyeglasses usually need not to be removed. Seventh, because of the low magnifications used with reflected light, no preparation of objects such as slicing or staining is required. The object may be viewed as it is. Eighth, its design allows the microscope to be moved above the object rather than the object moved under the microscope, and this feature significantly facilitates the examination of the entire features of a document, also eliminating the danger of folding or rolling the document to accommodate it on the stage. The stereoscopic microscope is two compound microscopes mounted side by side in the similar body converging towards the object, having a split optical system for each eye. Both the eyes view the same field from different angles and stereoscopic vision thus results. The convergence of the two optical systems is roughly the same as the normal convergence of the eyes when reading or writing. Objective lenses are provided in matched pairs, and frequently there are three pairs mounted jointly in either a rotating nosepiece or drum or in the horizontal slide, which pairs may be positioned rapidly and easily to provide varying objective magnifications with the same eyepieces. Next, compound microscopes represent a significant step up in magnification, resolution and difficulty of use from the stereo microscope. Magnifications range from 2.5x to about 1300x with an analogous increase in the solving power. Most annotations with these instruments in the forensic science laboratory are made with transmitted light, which places limitations on the specimens which are to be studied. The polarizing microscope is possibly the most useful and resourceful instrument in the hands of a trained and experienced forensic microscopist. Not only does it execute all the duties of a normal bright field microscope for the study of morphology, but it also permits explanation and measurements in plain polarized light and between crossed polar. Polarized light microscopy provides both qualitative and quantitative information which is of value in observing, identifying and comparing microscopic particles, crystals and fibers. A type of microscope that is predominantly useful in document examination is the comparison microscope. Two documents can be viewed side by side and the images can be placed so that they appear to superimpose each other. By using a different color of filter on every document, the examiner can then see a different color in those areas where two segments being compared overlay each other. The comparison microscope is used to compare microscopic objects side by side. Although the human eye can be very good at discriminating minute differences in color and morphology, the brain has a more difficult time remembering and processing these subtle differences. This difficulty is overcome by a comparison microscope, in which the images from two microscopes are seen side by side in a single field of view. Polarizing and fluorescence equipment may be added to a comparison microscope, which is to be used for comparison, thereby to enhance its capabilities. Light sources. Light sources include transmitted light, infrared light, also long and short wave ultraviolet light. Transmitted light is simply light from the back of a document. This is most excellent provided by a light box which has a color corrected fluorescent type light bulb. The document can be laid upon the box and the light from the rear of the document makes it possible to see details not otherwise visible. Special instruments. UV and IR lights are used to make a distinction between the ink and the paper and to reveal obliterated materials. Photography using specific films and filters can be done in conjunction with these special lights to reveal and record information. These techniques do not always lead to answers, but they are the best initial approach because they are non-destructive methods. Photography equipment. The significant use of photography in document examination is for recording and presenting evidence. A critical element of the job of the document examiner is to present evidence to the parties involved in a document dispute. The examiner must be talented to state and clarify his or her opinion. The best service is given when the examiner goes the final step of illustrating testimony with visual evidence. Photo equipment expected to include a 35 mm SLR camera, digital camera, copy stand, filters, extension tubes, lenses and other items. Computer equipment. The last group, computer equipment, is a new and diverse category. Beyond doubt, the computer is an indispensable aid to anyone who writes reports, runs a business and handles finances. But in document examination, there is a lot more to do with a computer. A whole new era of potential document fraud has developed around the computer. Just as the examiner one time had to switch from the study of handwriting to learn about a new machine, the typewriter, now he must gain knowledge of the computer and the output devices that are associated with it. The computer is not just a cause of problem for the document examiner, it also helps in making attractive and informative exhibits. It is as well a tool in doing examinations and presenting evidence. For example, scanning in documents and cautious use of image processing software offers the potential to discriminate between inks and reveal obscured writings. Question document is a document whose authenticity or genuineness is in question. The most important purpose of question document examination is to make available evidence about a suspicious or questionable document by means of a variety of scientific processes and methods. Different types of tools and appliances are used for the purpose of question document examination, such as magnifiers or microscopes, electrostatic detection apparatus, video spectral comparator, etc. The most significant tool of a document examiner is his or her own vision. The microscope is the instrument that makes it possible to see physical evidence on documents which would otherwise remain invisible and useless. The tools that are used for document analysis can be grouped as follows: basic measuring tools, magnification tools such as magnifiers and microscopes, light sources, special instruments, photography, and finally the computer.